Go ahead. To God be all the glory. To God be all the glory. Okay, we're going to switch up a conversation right now, everyone. I know I've been kind of like away from the R. Kelly conversation because of the simple fact that I'm tired of people that actually come into my chat and say derogatory things. And I also get upset about some of the things, not about always me, but things they might say about R. Kelly, offending me and offending him because of how you feel, how he been dealt with in a way that shouldn't have been. Okay. The way they did R. Kelly was the worst way to treat a black entertainer in America. This man didn't commit no crimes, really didn't hurt a soul, and they went so hard in the paint at him. To the point where they try to destroy everything about him, his character. They just destroyed his family and they destroyed his reputation out there. And these people knew what they were doing from their evil mind. I'm just say evil. And the sad thing about it is that when I'm looking through all of this stuff going on in immigration, which I didn't even know about all these people flooding our borders and from all these different places of Africa and in Arab nations and everything. So all of this was going on, but we missed it because we were so distracted with this R. Kelly stuff. And sometimes I think God has a way of doing things. God is so good. And let me tell you why. Imagine if R. Kelly was out and all these crazy lunatics that we got criminals now in our society that brought these people in from all over the world. These people, we don't even know who they are. Can't identify them. Some of them look like you, but they're not you. They don't speak your language. They don't really assimilate with your culture. The culture you have and they have really doesn't bring any kind of help. you know, like we can't communicate because we don't know each other's language. We don't know anything about each other's experiences from other places in the world where they came from. We don't really, all we know is about the hunger. There's a war going on. There's terrorism going on in their country. They being driven out for their land by a terrorist organization. Who are the terrorists? But everybody trying to figure out who are the terrorists. These are people that's in power. These are people that are got money, that they go to these places and they know how to manipulate the the way they want people to come in and vote for them. They bring them in and they use the system that we have, which is the government assistance with programs. Okay, they use the public government assistance programs to bring them in. That's why when that girl was coming on here, that foreigner that kept saying she's R. Kelly's queen and wife and everything. See, those are the kind of foreign women will try to get to a man like R. Kelly. You see what I'm saying? From these foreign nations and countries and stuff. So you got to be careful with that. And I know that R. Kelly ain't got nothing to do with that woman because R. Kelly, he knows the Lord, okay? He knows what kind of fruit he should be eating and what kind he need to stay away from, okay? When it comes to women, and he ain't gonna mess with these foreign women. Well, I can't really speak for him. He's a man, but you know, no, just something about R. Kelly spirit that I can connect with from his music. I don't think he will be the type to be with those kind of women. Okay, I don't think so. But I know you can't put nothing past these entertainers because when they traveling and they doing things, there's all kind that they be connecting with, get down with. So that I would say more likely if it is a foreign woman, he probably would more get closer and get in a relationship more with somebody from Jamaica, Trinidad, more from the Caribbean part of the world, part of the foreign countries. But I don't see him hooking up with any, you know, um, really truly in any person from this girl that comes out here and she's the queen and she's the wife and Joycelyn this and Joycelyn that and Azrael this and Azrael that and da 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 da. She started attacking, and that's another reason why I had to pull away from it for a while because it was just too much spirits coming out. And I just say, I know a lot of people got love for R. Kelly, just as much love as I do. And sometimes they just get a little bit too extreme. Okay. They go through the extreme of their delusional minds. So I just try to, like, hey, just to keep myself at peace and not to cause harm to anybody like I have done. And I know I have done. And I ask God for forgiveness about it all the time. That, Lord, if I harmed anyone by the action, words, or deed, to please forgive me. And I'm saying that to myself because I truly mean it. I truly mean it. And that's why I say it. And that's why it's so important to be a Christian. Because those words from the Bible, a scripture, something, you hear God's voice and you hold to it. You ain't going to do anything um, that's going to cost you some consequences. So you just daily have to stay in the word, washed in the word, and eat the word like it's breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and drink the word for your quench of your thirst. When you drying up and you getting thirsty, you got to go there to get the word. Your well runs dry, you get the word. And I took some time away, but I was in prayer for Robert Sylvester Kelly, even through all the other stuff that I've been talking about, just so I could avoid, you know, conflict with the R. Kelly supporters and fans. I love R. Kelly. I'm praying and hoping everything will work in his favor, that they're giving him a new motion to put in for a new trial. And they extended it to January the 5th. It was extended to January 17th, but they extended it to January the 5th, I think. And that is actually my birthday. So if anything the Lord can grant me for my birthday for this season of 2026 that will be coming across, that I pray in God He will show favor to release. R. Kelly will get favor, granted favor for a new trial, and to come home and be among us again as fans and as his supporters. That will be a beautiful thing, and that he can sing love back into the world, because the world became so evil without him. And I'm being honest, I have not seen a music show or nothing, nobody's music being promoted, none of that since R. Kelly's been incarcerated. People have made songs, but they ain't been hitting the charts real high. Ain't nobody been selling no real music because people getting tired of it. People tired of hearing the garbage that they promote out there, the violence and all the other sick things that come out of the minds of these lost souls that are selling this kind of music to the world, that's making these young people act crazy. And not only young people in America, but all over the world that's listening to hip hop. Okay, the hip hop culture. It's a trend. It goes all the way across the airways and everything on the radio stations and things of that nature. And and music transcends into the universe, and it also make you, a certain way when you hear it from music. When your music is violent, what is it going to produce from the people? It's going to become violent. People are going to become violent because they following that people are pouring that into their soul, and that's what's taking them to hell. That demonic music of hip hop, okay, rap. I'm gonna say rap, not hip hop. Rap and hip hop. We got to know how to differentiate the two. And I'll get in that conversation some other time. The rap music, hip hop has a culture. Rap music came from the hip hop culture, but it turned into more of a music of the streets, of gang violence, of disrespect to women, disrespect to the authorities, the governors, they presidents, they parents, they everything. They just have a totally disrespect for life. They whole way of, sending out a message to the world is they anger. And I mean, you can't even hear the words that's coming out of their mouth. I can't hear the words that coming out of their mouth. It makes no sense to me. All that gibbish, rubbish, gibbish, babbling stuff. I can't hear that. I can only hear the loud, loud music. And what does that do to the soul? It makes people mad, angry, frustrated. Let's go. It just drives you to a person to become that you don't want to become. And then have to sit back and after it's done and say, why did I do that? What was wrong with me? Because you allowed whatever that person was pouring into you to take control. That's how Satan works. He works through music, and he works through on the church, on the pulpit. Somebody telling you something on the pulpit, and you getting all excited about it and entertained for it, but you don't go read your Bible. And then you find yourself drawn into it and be preyed on. So you got to be very careful what you listen to. R. Kelly's music, yes, it brings love, it brings joy, it brings sorrow, it brings redemption, it brings all kind of feelings, just not sex. Everything about his music isn't sex. But when he do talk about it in when his music, I'm sorry, not when he do, because he does. His music doesn't move you to do harm to people. That's what I'm saying. And people talk, and then all these women groups out here talking about the rape and the blah 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 and all this other, the Me Too. I was like, where the fuck they at? Where they at now when these are real victims out here who have been brutally raped, women who have been raped, sexually assaulted in London. I mean, in London, in Minnesota, there's a lot of those cases out there. Come on, we dealing with a group of people that snuck into our borders, that's doing some horrific things to women. And where are their voices for justice against these violent criminals coming across our borders, raping women and children and harming children? Where is the Me Too movement? You know why? Because the majority of them belong to the Democrat Party. That's right. I said it. All of this coming after R. Kelly, Me Too, whatever, they all belong to the Democrat Party. That's the government. They try to come for the president of the United States, even though it might be some things he did that he might need some. But you know what I'm saying? But it happened so very, very long ago, and they don't need to keep bringing it up again. Let this man do what he has to do in office and to do what he has to do to protect our borders and protect this nation. Okay? All of that other stuff, leave that stuff out of out of what you got to do. Either you're going to work for government and you want to do what's better for the American people, or they looking to take this country to hell. Punish the innocent and criminalize and punish the innocent and let the wicked go free. But God is not having it no more, because it's going to stop. Because now you got the innocents suffering because of the bad, and it's just too many bad people in this world, and it's going to have to come a point where it's just going to have to end at some point. Nobody wants to see nobody get killed. Nobody wants to hear violence. Nobody wants violence. I don't want violence. I don't want to see, people harmed and hurt real badly or anything of that nature. But when people are getting so out of control with moral behavior and misconduct and don't want to listen to rules anymore, and they don't want to obey laws and do things of that nature, then it has to have some, you got to, do some things that have to control it. Like I just watched in Minnesota, when all this is going on, these people were giving the warning. Trump, the president of the United States, the people, they want y'all out. Okay? but you want to stay here and cuss and make threats to the president, to other citizens of the United States of America, to the ICE agents, to to whoever, and like the FBI can't find out who you are. You know what I'm saying? They will find you. You are in the United States of America. These people are sophisticated in technology and they know how to get your profile. They know who you are when you register here to the United States, and they know your community, where you at. They're going to go through the whole community. That's why they have to empty out the whole community. That's why President Trump, TPS status canceled, because we have to separate the groups. You got to find out who they are. You can't keep them in the country. If you keep them in the country, America would be over. We can't hold that much people that's coming over here and we don't really know who they are, and to make our country safe. It's not that it's a mean thing, it's the right thing to do. Now, those who will leave willingly, and those who will say, hey, I made arrangements to make my departure. I made arrangements for myself to deploy myself, you know. But if you stay here and still want to cause trouble when your community was warned to leave, and because of, and some things had to happen to the black, and it's sad to say this, from slavery and for whatever else we have experienced as black Americans in our culture here in the United States of America, through our history here, I'm sorry, in the United States of America. God allows certain history to happen to you, to talk to your people. You went through all of the process. You went through all of that. Beatings and water hoses and dogs and house getting bombed, churches being bombed, all the things that these supremacists, white supremacists, out of their fear for what they done to us, that we were going to become powerful enough to do back to them. So they came with another plan. You know, this is how the devil do things. That's why they wanted to destroy us, you know, here in the United States, so we don't get out and we don't whatever, because they plan was to, after everything, you know, the industrial wars and everything else went on, and they stopped wanting the slaves to pick the cotton. They came up with a way that they can pick cotton with the cotton gin, whatever. When all of that stuff started developing, then black people were like, hey, they became sharecroppers and whatever else they became, but they still had control. Even though the blacks were still sharecroppers, they still had control over the crops, over the food, over the land, over the this, over the that. The black people had no control over none of their stuff. You know what I'm saying? They came in out of fear. They saw black people progressing. They saw black people building and going to do great things and making their life here and now. They got comfortable being here because they ain't had nowhere else to go but here, because this was their home. And what did they do? They wanted to run us off the land, kill us off. They did everything they can to kill us. So when these people coming over here acting the fools that they did after all we went through, it hurts us more than it hurts anybody else. And that's why black people been going at each other with all the attacks on TikTok, on social media, whatever, about delineation. We don't want to be associated with them no more. We don't want this one. We don't want that one. We don't want to be associated with them Africans. We ain't African. We American. Even though our descendants are from Africa, the most people that came here from from Africa somewhere, they was dropped off here from Africa. Okay, so the reason why, because we don't have anything to do with that life anymore. Our life has been, all we know over here is America. All our parents were born here was American. All our culture here that was actually, we actually had to reinvent ourselves and create ourselves, was in America. It wasn't in Africa. None of that. I mean, the only thing came from Africa is the race, okay? The black, dark skin. But everything else that has connected with us mostly here, we are westernized. We are cultural. We're structured. Well, some of us have been structured, but some of us stayed mentally bonded in slavery, okay? And some of us got free and got out there and started building our lives and doing what we got to do and following wars and losing. Just know how to, we have discernment to know which places to go and which places not to go. What kind of people to hang around and say have certain conversations, and what kind of people not to have a conversation with. Just know your surroundings. And we just, you learned how to navigate that through life. And then there's just some people out here, they just don't get it. Because some of the, I believe, truly believe, some of the poverty in the black community, now that I don't live in the black community, I live in a very multicultural, I mean, not multicultural, I live more in a more diverse community, more working class um, community, the working poor. I wouldn't even consider myself poor, to be honest with you. I don't live on government assistance in a house from government assistance. I don't actually have government assistance right now. I don't. Okay. And that's not what I made my living on. I'm living off of my earnings from when I worked. Okay. I live off the money that I invested in myself while I was working. All right. So give myself a little break. And then I could get, because I'm almost 60 years old. I can't be going out there competing no more with this kind of generation. This generation is messed up. They mindset and the way they think is really not about longevity. It's just for what's right now. You know what I'm saying? I want it now. Give me my money now. You know what I'm saying? They entitled. They got an entitlement mindset. Okay, and it's very difficult to work now in workplaces. If you was raised in a totally different time, in a different era, it's very hard for people my age to really be in a place that I'm going to keep my job with this generation. The mindset of the generation, they not trained, they not, and that's America, that's everywhere, because we had too many different culture clashes, and then the Democrat Party, they wanted to please every goddamn body, so you was like kind of silent, you couldn't really correct somebody without being, you know canceled for it or whatever. When people were just being disrespectful, you couldn't even kind of like defend yourself. you know that's how the Democrats had everybody. Oh, all of these rules that you can't say this, you can't say that, you can't do this, you can't say nothing about a transgender on your job, a woman coming in, a man coming in, a biological man who transitioned to a woman. You can't really confront it. You can't say nothing about it, or else you got a problem, so you got to leave. I got to work, I got to eat, I got to pay my bills, but let's be fair here, okay? Let's be fair. This is so not right. And now it came to the point where it's just so wrong. President Trump took down the goddamn flag. Thank you, Jesus. He stopped birthrights for citizens and people that just come across the border, just right there, they pregnant and they go in labor, they have a baby here and all the front, and the child becomes a citizen. Once that child becomes a citizen and grows up or whatever in the United States of America, and their parents don't have legal status here, then all of a sudden they had a child in the United States, so that makes them a citizen under that, because of the birthright citizenship. You see what I'm saying? And people been doing that. And how they know how to do this and manipulate the law like this and find these little loopholes? Because of the politicians that go to that invest in these foreign countries and third world countries, bring them over here so that they can stay in power, so these people can vote for them, give them fake IDs, fake documents, just like they did R. Kelly with the fake government documents with Aaliyah, the fake government documents with what's her name? Rashonda Landfair or whoever. Not Rashonda. What's her name again? Oh God, PPP. Somebody put it in the chat. I know somebody know who I'm talking about. Put it in the chat. Put it in the chat. Somebody knows who I'm talking about. Who the girl was that had the fake birth certificate? I mean ID. Went in to see R. Kelly. She said she lied about her age. See, all of that is being exposed. All of those things that they were doing to R. Kelly and to a whole lot of people with the fake documents that they had, been able to do and get away with because they the government. They the biggest criminals in America because they the ones who got the power and the money. Okay? So this is what I'm saying. They went over there to these foreign countries. They gave them fake IDs, fake driver's license, fake this, fake that. So now the Republican Party, they are here to say enough is enough. We are going to stop it. The government shutdown wasn't about just only Welfare. They was going through all those people they was finding that was here that wasn't supposed to be here getting welfare, Medicaid. And then on top of that, stole money from the black Americans because that money that they got for these programs in Minnesota belonged to us. The Arabs, the what you call this over there, the Somalians said they ain't black. And that money was spent for the, I don't know if anybody been following the news, but that money was your money for your Section 8 or whatever you needed, your hub apartment, your hub house, the grant money that they gave money out for loans for families during the pandemic, all that money that they stole during the pandemic, and that's why they had to find a way to get Trump out and to stop him because they know he was coming here for the American people to help the American people. Okay, help his people, of course, first. But then black people been out there riding with him. Black people been out there fighting and helping and everything and voted for him and whatever. So now it's time. It's our turn too. Like give them their goddamn money. Y'all stole billions of dollars from the American people. He didn't want to say black because everybody want to use racist. You know, the Somalian woman that's now ready to get her ass kicked the fuck out the country. They don't talk. She done. They've been watching her from the time she sat in that seat. Don't think just because she was sitting in, that was a seat that was rightfully for a citizen of this country. But they gave it to the Somalian. And it could have been a seat for a black man or a black woman, American black man, a black woman that can fight for something for our community in Congress. But they gave it to her and that Somalian community. And look how they treating them. The Democrat Party don't even want to come in and save them. They just say, oh, call 911. Call 911 for what? Call 911 to the police on ICE agents. ICE agents are higher ranking in the police department. They are to enforce the law, okay? They are the enforcers. Do you know anything about how the government runs and how military runs or whatever civic jobs run, how people are doing their jobs with what title? These ICE agents, some of them are ICE agents and Marines, okay? They are trained killers if they have to. Kill you without you even seeing them doing it. These people, when the ICE agents are just getting a little bit too overwhelmed, guess what's coming in? Those Marine tanks. And when those Marine tanks start storming into Minnesota, I don't think they're going to be too kind with these Somalians. So if they knew what I know, if they was here illegally and they on the internet and they talking shit, even if they here legally and they are immigrant and they got in, they could strip them from their, you break the law, you out of here. You wasn't born here, you breaking the law, and now you want to curse out the president and make threats that you going to do this and you going to shoot ICE agents and everything. Boy, you made that kind of threat. This is what I say, we black Americans, we know what's up. We know what they're going to do because of the civil rights, because of what happened to black people. They're trying not to harm innocent people that might be among the group. There's some black stupid folks still caught up in their blackness and their anger and their pain. And they're going to be drawn right into that mess. And they're going to go right down with the rest of them. So when the ICE agents, when President Trump made that statement and you living in that area, you see his people are getting the fuck up on out of there. The MAGA people, the white MAGA people, it's going viral now, but they came out and said, the white MAGA, his name is something Fitzgerald, John Fitzgerald or something like that. He says, President Trump, I got to tell you this. He's over there in Minnesota. He says, I want them out, President Trump. I'm MAGA, you know, I want to make America great again. He told Trump he's MAGA. He want them out. They are disturbance. They are very, very disgusting, disrespectful. These are the second generation of their children. They said these kids are out of control. These young people are out of control. They've been throwing things at the cars and acting just like those fools. They act worse than the Mexicans. And half of the people that was burning down California, I don't even think it was the Mexicans. It was probably some of them. Because you couldn't really identify some of them because some of them had masked themselves with a whole lot of, they had themselves masked up. Just like what happened in George Floyd in Minnesota. That was the Somalian community. They tore shit up down there in Minnesota on that so-called Summer of Love while it was trending. Oh yeah, then now they want to use George Floyd because that's what the Democrat Party trained them to say. Everything when they get caught in something, a criminal or whatever, the Democrats already trained them how to say, "Oh, we was at the George Floyd thing. We were with the black people, and we were there to support y'all. So come out and support us. We need you. We want to get them." Blah blah blah. No, I don't want to hurt them. No, I don't because they're American just like I am, and they trying to live right and bring up their children in a good, loving, caring, nurturing environment, in a respectful environment, and all of that other stuff. So I ain't got nothing to do with y'all. Anything with chaos, noise, and disrespect to the community of the people you live around, and to the government and all that stuff, I don't want nothing to do with you. Don't even put me in that. Okay, I didn't even go to the George Floyd Summer of Love thing because they ain't got nothing. Because that man was on drugs and he was out there getting high and disturbance, probably with them damn Somalians. Okay, hanging with the goddamn Somalians because he was outnumbered there, so he probably had nobody to hang out with but them. They probably the ones who was getting the drugs in him. All the drug money and everything they found out there when they went and busted in some of these Somalians' places. But not saying that George Floyd deserved to die, not the way he deserved to die with that man putting his knee on his neck and smiling up at the camera. He should not be anyway. That doesn't make it right. Even if the man was a corpse, that makes it even wrong that you had your knee on a corpse's neck with your hand in your pocket and smiling, and they took that picture to let it look like you killed him that way. Even if he was already dead from his overdose. It still don't make it right for you to take a photo as a police officer, and you white with your knee on a black man's neck. It just made people triggered. Okay, that's your punishment. Even if George Floyd was already dead, you can't justify that. It's wrong. It's evil. You can't turn something that was evil into something good. It was wrong to have your knee on that man's neck like that. But I didn't do the march for George Floyd, but he probably would have made better choices if he wasn't on any kind of substance. And I say that about a lot of us. A lot of us make bad choices and we bring that type of energy to us. I can't sit up here and say white people did all of these damaging things to black people. No, I'm not saying that. Some of them been here too damn long, born in America. Even if you was overlooked, it still doesn't excuse bad behavior. But when you want to sit down and have a conversation and we both can reason with each other, and we both can, you know, build one with each other understanding, then okay, we could do that. But if you're going to try to make me believe this because he's black and it was a white police officer, even though the white police officer did wrong, and there was white police, or white police, we know how they are. See, that's why I can't excuse some of us for the behavior, because we already know what is capable of happening to us when we step out of line with certain things. Okay? Or we get caught in a crime doing something, how we will be punished for the crime. So we got to be very careful, and we try to teach that these Somalians, somebody don't suit them to freak up, told them whatever they want to tell them, got them here in America, and they so ignorant. The average IQ of a Somalian is, I forget, it's like a 7th grade reading level, I think. That's the highest of their education level. They're not very smart people. They're not very intelligent people when it comes to thinking on things like trying to use their brain. They inbreeders. That's another thing that can cause some of the things that's hurting their growth, because of them being born to very probably young parents. And the young parents that they've been born to. And then you got to understand the whole thing about the culture. There's polygamy, inbreeding, in their culture, poor education, no really lack of it. Okay, they have no workings, no skills, no nothing. Only thing they know how to do, in the kind of conditions that they live in their country, and under the kind of government they have really no government. There's no structure there. The only thing they know how to do is steal when they come here to this country. Is tap into our government assistance programs and things of that nature, and the support, and then send it back to whoever kind of militant, crazy, terrorist groups that might be members of their families or whoever. Okay, so that's why Trump like I ain't taking no chances with none of them. They all going back. They come from the third world country. They all going. Poor Ethiopians had to go along with them because of the fact that Ethiopians kind of identify with them in the ethnicity, in some of their features or whatever, and something even in some of their customs they might have that might be similar as far as in that Arab culture. So Trump ain't trying to take America ain't trying to take no chances with no third world right now. No matter how nice and beautiful they are, because of the culture and the nature of these people and these Somalians and the way their behavior is. And it's just so many of them that came over here and they're not supposed to be here. Half of they taking up half of the United States. You want to keep them people in your house? I don't think so. But anyway, y'all, back to R. Kelly. Like I said, golden is silence for R. Kelly because right now I think God is working it out for R. Kelly and that God allowed things to happen for a reason, even though it didn't seem like a good thing to do to put R. Kelly away and da 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 da. But then you got to think about all of this nonsense with politics and all the crime going on around America and all the terrorism going on. Maybe that's the safest place right now for him to have some rest, have some peace. Even though they got him in a secluded area, they probably bring him out for population when he want to go out and play ball or when he want to just like go to the lot. But R. Kelly, they basically keep him kind of like, from what I understand, he's not. He's in some kind of secure areas of the prison. Okay, he's not with the real hardcore criminals, but he's with some criminals, but he ain't with the real hardcore criminals. Okay. So anyway, y'all, I wanted to just talk to you about that, and I miss R. Kelly, and I really, really, really praying, and especially that they put it on my birthday, January 5th. Yay for R. Kelly. And silence is golden. Haven't heard Big Mouth Tasha K late. They probably don't. Ice probably don't came and invaded and got her husband. If that happened, that would have been on circulate, all over YouTube. My husband probably already in the country, so he probably already safe. You know what I'm saying? He's probably one of the safe Africans in in this mess right now. And they probably did an investigation because it sounds like they had a lot of corrupt shit going on too. So with Tasha K, when if that do happen, you know what? The internet is gonna be on fire. It's gonna be on fire when Tasha K ass is gonna be dragged on the news for her corruption behind her African husband in her African culture. Yo, yeah, it's coming, Tasha. It's coming. See, that's why I said sometimes God has his way to deal with people. Vengeance is mine, says the Lord. So Tasha K and all them people that did all that wrong stuff and lied on R. Kelly and called him all kind of horrible names and did what they did, they all gonna get what's coming to them. And it's coming sooner than you know it. Because with all of this stuff going on, she's gonna get caught up in it too. Because she's married to an African husband. Okay. And right now Trump ain't too thrilled with Africa. So watch out, Tasha K. So anyway, y'all, I'm gonna get up on out of here. I just talked enough, and oh, I didn't. Let me show you what I wanted to show you. Okay. Yeah, I did write something here for R. Kelly. I did. I wrote here, is it just me or has anyone else noticed the silence? Since R. Kelly's incarceration, the music industry hasn't felt the same. No real excitement, no cultural movements, no albums being truly promoted the way they used to be. Even the award show buzz feels muted and disconnected. Notice there ain't been no music awards. I don't know if it been one last year, but this year it wasn't none. And then when I looked it up, they was like, we could look it up. I'm gonna look it up with y'all while I'm here. Now we're seeing deadlines extended for a motion for a new trial. Remember the deadline was in October. What was it? What was that day? It was October the 7th or something like that, or was October the 2nd. It was whatever day they gave him a deadline before, and I was out there. I was just stomping the grounds, doing what I got to do. The black congress. Oh, they getting it too. Yeah, I'm gonna talk about the black congressional Congress. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to fill that in on this video, but I am going to talk about it because they got the boot. Some of them getting the boot now. A lot of them ain't even on the American. A lot of them ain't nothing but West Indians and maybe some Haitians and Africans, whatever, but barely any Americans on the team, on in no seats. That's why you didn't see much of them doing anything acted out there with a call to action for R. Kelly. That's why they haven't been even trying to find, get involved with R. Kelly, because you know why? Because they was in control by the Democrats. That's why you didn't see a lot of these NWACPs and all of them. They hate Trump because they already know he coming for you. And he's got to use it as a racist thing. No, it ain't a racist thing. This is the law. You're here illegally. And then on top of that, you taking jobs that belong to black American people. How about that? Why are so many black little people at the bottom of the totem pole and y'all up here seem to be progressing? What's wrong? Look at that picture. Look at the statistics. Okay, look at the statistics. And then, because they want to replace us, they could never be us. They even trying to replace our music. They trying to give us this African soul rhythm music now. You notice a lot of Africans, they doing a lot of music from their country and putting it on TikTok and on videos and all that stuff, dancing and shaking their behind and doing all that stuff. That's African. Afro, whatever music. I watch it. I look at them dance for a little while. Then I just stroll by. I don't try to stay too much in depth with it because those people ain't getting getting my soul. But if you want to listen to it and you want to get down with it, then you could go and get down with it. But we gonna stay with our R&B over here. We gonna stay with soul music over here because they ain't got no songs out there that can top any American song. If you ask me, only thing they got is a whole bunch of loud music and tribal sounds and tribal and barbaric and over there, beastly and very, a lot of shaking booty stuff. We ain't got all that shaking booty. My artists, we our music is like, we go from R&B, gospel. We even got gospel songs. Do they got gospel music over there in Africa? I doubt it very much. When is there a gospel African artist? There is none. Okay, all they know how to do is sing. They sing African music. They sing they so-called African music, but their music is more sounds like their music. That's the only way I can describe it. It just sounds like their music. It don't sound like our music. Now, some of the beats and everything could sound pretty cool. Like, oh, I like that. Like, I did do some African, musicians that I did like. Some African music from High Life and everything that has like a little jazz to it. But a lot of their music is just loud and sound like music to that tribes will play when they ready to go to war. The tribal music. That's what it sounds like to me. It doesn't really sound like our music. Back to R. Kelly, R. Kelly, R. Kelly. We love you, R. Kelly. We miss you, R. Kelly, and we can't wait for to you in 2026 because I already said it and I spoke it and I mean it and I know God is not. It's funny that I spoke it, I said it, that the number 7 meant complete. And I said in 2025, this will be the last of R. Kelly being incarcerated. And I spoke it. And guess what? His motion deadline is on my birthday. And I truly believe God is going to grant favor through my prayers. Through my prayers, I believe God is going to grant favor for R. Kelly. It wouldn't be a new trial if it wasn't something good going to be coming from it. They would have said, hey, we ain't getting no new trial. We got him in 30 years. Blah, blah, blah. But they giving him time to get a new motion together for a new trial. And you got people out here saying, oh, he ain't getting out of there. Oh, yeah, Trump going to get him out. He going to get him out. You better believe it. But he got to get all this shit out of the way first. He got to take care of some of this shit that they got going on. And look at what's going on in Chicago. That's where R. Kelly's from. All the corruption with the politicians over there. Okay? Brandon Johnson and that Pulitzer guy, that fat guy that looked like Fred Flintstones, the governor over there. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. R. Kelly was in a very dangerous place in Chicago. He didn't know the danger was there because he just was out there touring, doing music. But that's a dangerous place right now because they moved in a different kind of new bunch of immigrants. These ain't the same immigrants that I knew when I was growing up. I ain't even see all these goddamn people from all these other places in the world. Only people I know is black people, white people, maybe some Chinese, a little bit of Asians here and there. I barely seen Indians. I mean, when I went to school and everything, how many Indian kids was in my school, my classroom, or none. When I got to high school, none. I had no. Wait. Let me go back. In my sophomore year, I did have a few Indian students that were there, Indian kid girls that went to school. I don't know if they was from India or Pakistan. I really didn't couldn't tell the difference, but they could have been from Pakistan or some other country over in Asia, in the Asian part of the world. But I don't. I just don't. I can't really identify them. I can't even identify a Chinese from a Korean from a. In some way, I probably in their identity, I can't even tell because I look at a Japanese and think they Chinese still. I can't tell. They could tell the difference between each other, but I can't tell. Just like they probably look at us and say they can't tell the difference between a Jamaican, African, and whatever. But we can tell. You understand what I'm saying? From whatever race they came from, they can ethnicity. I'm sorry, not race, but the ethnicity that they came from. Because there's only three that you're going to check in that box. Either you white in race, or either you black, Asian, other. Okay, and I ain't no other. It's either you black or white or Asian. Look at the application. Your ethnicity. Your ethnicity, where you come from. I am okay. My race is black. My ethnicity is coming from the culture of Black American. Or no, I'm sorry. I'm black. My ethnicity is African, and I think my nationality is American. There you go. Okay. It's still black. You know what I'm saying? Ethnicity, black. Race, black. Nationality, American. That's it. That's all. But anyway, y'all, I got to go. But I hope I was able to fill you in on some things. But some of them come here, they don't. I can't tell the difference. I can't. I really can't. And unless they tell me, unless we have a conversation, and then they could say, "Oh, I'm from India," or "I'm from Pakistan," or "I'm from Afghanistan," or wherever. That's the only way I could tell. And sometimes we don't have that conversation because some of them they don't really mess. You know, they don't. Only time we see them is when they working in our building their businesses in our communities. That's the only interaction we really have with them. Other than that, we don't. Or maybe in the workplace. But as far as really living in the neighborhoods around these people or whatever, I never really lived around them. But the ones people I live around, we I got groups of people from all different places. Well, mostly people that live around here is white. The majority of them are all white. So anyway, y'all. Anyway, I'm gonna get out of here. If God's willing, if something else comes up on R. Kelly, I will definitely let you be informed. But the thing I wanted to bring about because I noticed this, and who is this now? Hi, Malik. Wait a minute. What are you saying? Yeah, I know about the new song. Thank you. Thank you. Yes, I do. I heard about that new song that he got out. And what it sound like? Oh, whenever you hear that part, you know that's R. Kelly. R. Kelly has a certain distinct sound to him. Okay, when you know it's him is when he hit that. I can't sleep, baby. I can't think. Yeah, I can't play music right now due to the fact that this YouTube will put some kind of copyright claim strike. I mean, not copyright, but they'll block it from being out or whatever. They kind of slows down my algorithms, and it just they do this to me. They do this to me because I be going all into that with everything. I deep dive. So people like me that speak freely and da da da, and plus I'm not monitored. I mean, I'm not monetized. They kind of slow down my video for that. That's why you see my videos and not getting a lot of, views and likes or whatever because my videos ain't really monetized. So my being that it's not monetized, I don't really get that much. And it's okay because as long as I can get my message out to a few good people that listen to me and people that will come over and share my videos or whatever like that, that's fine. Because I'm not in it for the money. I'm in it because I'm doing it for activism, advocacy, and also, like I said, I got on here because of the love I have for Robert Sylvester Kelly, and I saw what happened to him, and I just wanted to be able to do something about it and be a part, to be a voice for him out here, for his, you know, justice, for his, for the injustice that he was served. But I just really appreciate that. Thank you, Malik. Yeah. So a lot of people are really waiting on R. Kelly to come home now. It's really ridiculous that he's been there today. But then again, it's not so ridiculous because it's like I said, they've been keeping him mainly safe. Besides all of this about his health and all this other stuff getting out, and some agents came in and took him out and dragged him back to prison, and we ain't hear no more about it after that. So I guess no news is good news, and everything is well. And for all we know, R. Kelly probably did get his medical situation taken care of. And he's been rested. And they probably say, look, we don't want things to upset you and get you upset. So that's why we try to keep you away too much from having, too much people disturbing you because you need rest. You need your mind to get restored. You've been through a lot. You just been through a lot with this court situation, what happened on Lifetime, and a lot of other things that have happened in your life from um, time and time again. And I'm pretty sure they got doctors on site. They got people there to examine him as far as his mental health and everything. So let's just keep praying and hoping that everything is going to be all right. That we don't have to keep this going in 2026. That R. Kelly will be home and he will be have direct communication with all of us. Okay. So with that being said, God bless you. I love you and be safe. Peace. And hit the like button as you come in. And if you're just coming in for this video, I mean, to this chat or to this live, I appreciate it if you hit the like button. And if you just come in here and you miss some of the conversation, you can always come back and see the replay. And also, if this is your first time on my channel and you like what you heard here, I'd like for you to hit that subscribe button and make sure you hit the bell so when I do come on, you'll get the notification. God bless you, love you again, and peace.